Fired for a stolen Rolex. My housekeeper quietly left behind a cracked burner phone. When I turned it on, I discovered my husband was planning my death for my inheritance. Morning sunlight sliced through the large glass panes of the dining room, glinting off the white porcelain and sterling silver cutlery laid out with precision. The aroma of freshly brewed espresso and avocado toast, Ryan's favorite, wafted from the kitchen. On the surface, Amelia's life was a perfect oil painting: a handsome, successful husband, a luxurious home in the elite enclave of Greenwich, Connecticut, and complete financial freedom. Amelia placed a coffee cup to the right of Ryan's plate, smiling as she heard her husband's footsteps descending the grand staircase. But the smile slowly vanished when she saw his face. Ryan didn't look like the calm, composed marketing director he usually was. His face was flushed, his hair slightly disheveled, and his breathing was heavy. His crisp white shirt was on, but the cuff on his left wrist was unbuttoned, leaving it bare. "Honey, what's wrong?" Amelia asked softly, reaching out to touch his arm. Ryan brushed her hand away gently, his eyes darting around the room. "My watch, Amy. The Rolex Daytona. Where did you put it?" Amelia frowned. "The Rolex, our anniversary gift. Isn't it always in the watch winder on your dresser?" "It's empty," Ryan snapped, his voice a notch higher than usual, making Amelia jump. "I've checked there. In the drawers in my jacket pockets, nothing. The box is there, but the watch is gone." "Maybe you forgot where you put it last night after coming home from the city," Amelia tried to soothe him, though her own heart began to beat faster at the uncharacteristic panic in Ryan's eyes. It was an expensive watch, easily worth tens of thousands, but Ryan was reacting as if his life depended on it. "I didn't forget, Amelia. I always put it there." Ryan rubbed his face harshly. "I have a huge meeting today with major clients. The big boss from Singapore is flying in. Appearance is everything." Ryan didn't finish his sentence. Instead, he spun around his gaze, locking on the kitchen where an older woman was wiping down the marble island. Maria. The woman in her late 50s had worked for Amelia since before she was married. 10 years of flawless service. Maria looked down her body, trembling slightly under the sudden tension that filled the air. "Maria," Ryan called out sharply. Maria flinched, nearly dropping the cloth in her hand. "Yes, sir." "Did you see my watch, silver band, black dial, the one I usually keep on the dresser?" "No, sir. I would never touch anything on your and Mrs. Amelia's dresser. I only clean the floors," Maria answered, her voice trembling. Ryan strode closer, his steps intimidating. "Are you sure? It's just you and Amelia who have access to our bedroom when I'm at work? Amelia wouldn't take her own husband's things." "I swear to God, sir, I didn't take it," Maria began to cry. Amelia immediately intervened, standing between Ryan and Maria. "Ryan, wait. Don't just accuse her. Maria has been with me for 10 years. She's never even kept the change from grocery shopping. Let's just look again slowly. Maybe it slipped between the sofa cushions or fell in the car." Ryan looked at Amelia with a strange expression. It was a mixture of anger, fear, and something else she couldn't read, like desperation. "We don't have time to look slowly, Amy. That's an asset, and I don't trust anyone right now," Ryan hissed coldly. "Move. I'm searching her room." Ryan, Amelia gasped, but he had already strode toward the service area, heading for the small room behind the kitchen where Maria lived. Maria's room was small but tidy. There was a plastic wardrobe, a simple cot, and a small fan. The walls were adorned with photos of her grandchildren back in her home country. The usually peaceful space was now in turmoil. Ryan yanked everything out of the plastic wardrobe, worn-out house dresses, aprons, and prayer beads scattered across the floor. "Ryan, stop this! This is outrageous!" Amelia cried, grabbing her husband's arm. Maria stood in the doorway, sobbing as she watched her privacy being violated. "Shut up, Amy. You're too naive," Ryan barked without looking at her. He knelt roughly, lifting Maria's mattress, and there it was. A dark green velvet box, a spare watch box Ryan usually kept in the bottom drawer of their own closet. It was lying under the bed, covered in a thin layer of dust. Ryan snatched it with a theatrical flourish. "See this?" Amelia stared, speechless. Ryan opened the box. Empty. "Where's the watch?" Ryan turned, shoving the empty box in Maria's face. "The box is here, which means you've already sold the watch." "Huh." Maria's face went as white as a sheet. Her legs gave out and she collapsed to the floor. "For the love of God, sir, I don't know why that box is there. I've never seen it before. I swear, sir. Thieves never confess. If they did, the prisons would be full." Ryan tossed the box to the floor with a sickening thud. Amelia was confused, her logic at war with her heart. The evidence was right there. The box was clearly in Maria's room, but her heart refused to believe it. Maria was the one who had nursed Amelia through a bad case of the flu when Ryan was on a business trip. Maria was the one who was always honest about a broken glass or a stained shirt. Stealing a watch worth a fortune felt completely out of character. Ryan, maybe there's a misunderstanding, Amelia stammered weakly. Maybe she accidentally brought it here when she was cleaning our room. Brought it here. The box was in the bottom drawer, Amelia. Hidden. She must have searched our room when we weren't here. Ryan gripped Amelia's shoulders, his eyes staring intently, forcing her to agree. She's taking advantage of your kindness. She thinks because you're soft, she can bleed us dry bit by bit. Today, it's a watch. What's next? Your jewelry, the deed to this house. Ryan's words stung. Soft. He had always praised her gentle nature, but today the word sounded like an insult. I didn't take it, ma'am. Please believe me, Maria sobbed, her hands clasped in a pleading gesture. Ryan clicked his tongue in disgust. Enough with the drama. Now where is the watch? Where did you pawn it? I didn't take it, sir. Fine. If you won't talk, maybe the police can persuade you. Ryan reached into his pocket, pulling out his smartphone. Don't, Amelia stopped his hand. No police, Ryan. Think of her family back home. Ryan stared at her in disbelief. She steals from you and you still feel sorry for her. My God, Amelia. He glared at Maria with a murderous look. Fine. Because my wife is too damn nice. Pack your things. Now. I want you out of this house this instant. 15 minutes. That was all the time Ryan gave her. The once warm house now felt cold and menacing. Ryan stood in the living room, arms crossed, watching the hallway to the back, like a prison warden, ensuring Maria didn't take anything else. In the kitchen, Amelia stood frozen. She wanted to help Maria pack, but Ryan's glare paralyzed her. For the first time in their 5-year marriage, she felt like a stranger to the man standing in her living room. The Ryan she knew was patient, not this explosive man who would throw an elderly woman out like a criminal. Maria emerged from her room carrying a single, large, worn duffel bag and a cardboard box containing her remaining belongings. Her eyes were swollen, her nose red. She didn't dare look toward the living room. Maria approached Amelia, wanting to hug her employer, but knowing her place, she simply clasped her hands to her chest. I'm so sorry, ma'am. Thank you for being so kind to me all these years, she whispered, her voice hoarse. Maria, I'm so sorry about Ryan, Amelia whispered back, tears welling in her eyes. She reached into the pocket of her pants, gripping several $100 bills she had managed to grab from her wallet. This is for your trip home. Maria shook her head slowly, refusing Amelia's hand. No, ma'am. The sir will be angry if he finds out. I have a little bit of savings. Take it, Maria. Please, Amelia insisted, forcing the money into the pocket of Maria's jacket. Ryan's shout echoed from the living room. No whispering conspiracies. Maria flinched. She looked at Amelia intently, a different look in her eyes this time. Not just sadness, but a look full of meaning, an urgent look. Ma'am, Maria whispered so quietly it was almost inaudible, her lips barely moving. Be careful. The sir is not who you think he is. Amelia frowned. What do you mean? Before Maria could answer, Ryan strode into the kitchen, his intimidating aura making the air feel heavy. Is the farewell party over? Get out. Ryan escorted them to the back door. He wouldn't even let Maria leave through the front. To Ryan, Maria was now trash to be disposed of through the service exit. The back door opened to a small alley used by landscapers. The sky that morning was overcast, as if mirroring Amelia's gloomy mood. Ryan stood in the doorway, making sure Maria was truly out of the gate. Wait here, I'll go get the padlock for the back gate, Ryan muttered. He turned and went back inside, leaving Amelia and Maria alone on the back patio for a few precious seconds. The moment was brief, but it changed everything. As soon as Ryan's back disappeared around the corner, Maria's demeanor shifted. She was no longer a picture of resignation. With swift, wary movements, she reached into her duffel bag. Her wrinkled hand pulled out a small object, an old Nokia-style flip phone, a burner, its screen spider-webbed with 1,000 cracks. It was held together by a rubber band to keep the battery from falling out. Ma'am, take this, Maria whispered, thrusting the phone into Amelia's hand. Maria, this is your only phone. Shh. Hide it. Maria's eyes darted toward the door. Listen carefully, ma'am. Open the media folder, then voice memos. I couldn't say anything directly. I was too scared. Amelia gripped the cold phone, bewildered. What was going on? Listen to the recordings, ma'am. For your own safety. Don't let the sir know you have this phone. If he finds out our lives are at stake. Amelia felt a chill run down her spine at the tone in Maria's voice. It wasn't the tone of someone hurt by being fired, it was the tone of someone who was utterly terrified. The sound of Ryan's footsteps approached. With a reflex she didn't know she had, Amelia tucked the old phone into the back of her waistband, the loose fit of her sweater hiding the bulge. Her heart pounded as if it would burst from her chest. Ryan reappeared with a padlock, his face still hard. "Let's go, out." Maria gave Amelia one last look, a farewell that carried a heavy burden, then picked up her bag and walked out the gate. Ryan immediately clicked the padlock shut with a sound of finality. Done. Ryan let out a long breath as if he'd just shed a great weight. He turned to Amelia, his face softening the mask of the loving husband back in place. He caressed her cheek. "I'm sorry, honey. I had to be firm. It was for our own good. I don't want a thief in this house. I'll find you a new housekeeper from a more reputable agency." Amelia forced a stiff smile. Against the small of her back, the cracked phone felt like it was burning her skin. "Yes, Ryan. You're right," she said softly, her first lie to the husband she had adored. 2 hours later, Ryan had left for the office. He'd rushed out, claiming he had to make his meeting with the Singaporean client even without his lucky Rolex. The large house was now silent, a suffocating silence. Amelia sat on the edge of the bed in the master suite. In her hand lay Maria's Nokia phone. The object looked alien in the luxurious room filled with designer brands. It was grimy, and the screen was severely cracked. Amelia pressed the power button. The screen glowed dimly, displaying the iconic handshake logo distorted by broken pixels. The battery had only 1 bar left. Amelia's fingers, accustomed to an iPhone's touchscreen, felt clumsy on the hard physical keys. Menu. Media. Memory card. Voice memos. There was only one file. Its title was generic Voice 001 AMR. The timestamp was from yesterday afternoon at 4:30 p.m. At that time, Amelia had been at a charity luncheon, and Ryan should have still been at work. Amelia swallowed hard, her finger trembling over the center OK button. Play. At first, there was only static. Then the sound of footsteps. It seemed Maria had recorded this from inside her pocket or through a crack in a door. The sound was muffled but clear. Then she heard Ryan's voice. Perfectly clear. "Yeah, it's safe. I've got the cash." Amelia froze. It was Ryan's voice, but the tone was different. There was no gentleness, no authority. It was harsh, panicked, and cunning. "I don't care if the price is low. I need 20 grand in cash by this evening, man. If not, your guys are going to take me outright." A pause. Ryan seemed to be listening to the person on the other end of the line. "Relax, my wife will never know. She's a fool, easy to lie to. I'm going to create a scene tomorrow morning. The old housekeeper will be the scapegoat. I'll plant the box in her room. Easy." Tears streamed down Amelia's face without her realizing it. Her breath caught in her throat. "Yeah. I sold the Rolex just to pay the interest on this month's debt. As for the rest, the $200,000 I owe from gambling, I'm working on it. The house deed is in my wife's name, but I've already had documents drawn up. I'll get her to sign over power of attorney. I'll just tell her it's for some tax thing." A dry, wicked laugh echoed from the recording. "It's easy. She trusts me 100%. She thinks I'm the perfect husband. The truth is, I just need her father's assets." The recording ended. Amelia dropped the phone onto the bed as if it had stung her. Her world collapsed. The theft was fake. Ryan's anger was fake. His love was fake. Her husband wasn't the victim of a theft. He was a gambling addict, drowning in debt, willing to frame an innocent old woman to cover his tracks. And worse, Ryan's next target wasn't a watch or jewelry. It was this house, and Amelia herself. Suddenly, her own iPhone lying on the nightstand buzzed. Ryan appeared on the screen with a picture of him smiling widely. Normally, Amelia would have answered cheerfully, but now the sight of that photo made her stomach churn. Amelia looked at her reflection in the mirrored closet door. The face of the naive woman was gone, replaced by the face of a terrified woman who now held the key to the truth. She couldn't answer the phone with her usual tone. She had to act. From this moment on, their marriage was a stage play, and if she wanted to survive, Amelia had to be a better actor than her husband. She took a deep breath, wiped her tears away fiercely, and swiped the green icon. "Hi, honey." Amelia's voice was steady, but her hand gripped the bedspread so tightly her knuckles turned white. The Cold War in their home had just begun. That evening, the clock showed it was past 7. Amelia stood at the stove, stirring in filet mignon with a red wine reduction and roasted asparagus, whose aroma filled the kitchen. Her hands moved on autopilot, performing a routine she'd done hundreds of times, but her mind was miles away. In the pocket of her lounge pants, Maria's Nokia felt heavy, as if pulling the gravity of the entire room toward it. The sound of the automatic gate opening echoed through the house. Amelia's heart leaped. Ryan's car was pulling in. "Breathe in, Amelia. Breathe out. Don't tremble." Amelia turned off the stove. She walked to the mirror in the hallway, forcing the corners of her lips to turn up. She studied her reflection, a dutiful, naive wife who suspected nothing. The mask Ryan had created for her she would now wear to fight its creator. The front door opened. Ryan stepped inside his suit jacket, slung over his shoulder. He looked tired, but there was a glint of relief in his eyes he couldn't hide. The heavy burden that had made him explode that morning seemed to have been lifted. "I'm home," Ryan announced. Amelia walked over to greet him, kissing the back of his hand. His skin felt cold, a stark contrast to the fire burning in her chest. "How was your day, honey? Did the meeting go well?" Ryan kissed her forehead. Those lips, the same lips she'd heard on the recording, planning her destruction. Amelia fought back a wave of nausea. "It went great. The Singapore client was very impressed." Ryan lied without blinking. He took off his shoes, then glanced at his empty wrist. His face turned mournful, a perfect performance. "It just feels like something's missing without that watch. I still can't believe Maria would do that." Amelia had to bite the inside of her cheek to keep from screaming. "Let it go, Ryan. Let's just consider it bad luck. The important thing is your meeting was a success." "You're right. You really are the most understanding wife." Ryan smiled and walked to the dining table. "Wow, filet mignon with a red wine reduction and roasted asparagus. You knew I was starving. I didn't even have time for lunch. I was so busy with the presentation." A lie, Amelia thought. You weren't presenting. You were making a black market deal. That dinner was the most torturous experience of Amelia's life. She sat across from the man she had been married to for 5 years, observing his every move. The way he cut his meat, the way he sipped the broth, the way he laughed lightly at a joke from the office. Everything seemed normal, too normal. That was the most terrifying part. Ryan wasn't a monster who looked menacing. He was a monster who could laugh cheerfully after destroying someone's life. "Oh, by the way, Ryan," Amelia began casually setting down her spoon. "Someone from the bank called today offering a high-limit credit card. I turned it down, of course. Our finances are still stable, right?" Ryan's spoon stopped moving for a split second. It was almost imperceptible, but Amelia caught it. He cleared his throat. "Why would you even talk to a telemarketer?" "Of course we're fine. Why do you ask?" Ryan looked at Amelia, his eyes searching. "No reason. It's just that the savings for our future kids' education is in that other account of yours. I just wanted to make sure it's all good. You know that international school we talked about will be expensive." Correction. The original story mentions a child. Future plan inconsistently. We'll assume it's a future plan, a shared dream. "Don't worry, honey. Everything is managed perfectly. I'm a financial manager at work. You think I'd mess up our own household finances?" Ryan laughed, but his eyes didn't smile. "You don't need to think about money. Your job is to be beautiful at home. Take care of me." He glanced around the house. "And protect our assets." The word assets sounded like a threat in Amelia's ears. Later that night, as Ryan snored softly beside her, Amelia lay with her eyes wide open. She stared at her husband's back. The back she used to hug as she fell asleep now felt like a cold wall separating her from reality. Amelia slowly sat up, reaching for Ryan's phone on the nightstand. Locked. Face ID. She knew she couldn't open it without waking him. She put the phone back. She needed another way. She had to be smarter than him. The next day, as soon as Ryan's car left the driveway, Amelia sprang into action. She didn't go to her yoga class or out for lunch as usual. She went into Ryan's home office on the second floor, a room she rarely entered because Ryan always called it his sacred workspace. Amelia turned on Ryan's old laptop, one he rarely used, but which was connected to the same Google account as his work computer. Ryan was careless about logging out. He was overconfident that Amelia was tech illiterate and wouldn't understand. She opened the browser. Sure enough, his Google account was still logged in. Amelia's fingers deftly opened his search history. Empty. Ryan had cleared it. Amelia switched to Google Maps timeline, a feature most people forget about. Ryan had forgotten to turn off his location tracking. Amelia saw his travel history from yesterday. 9:00 a.m. left the house. 10:15 a.m. arrived in the Diamond District in Manhattan, not his office in Midtown. 11:00 a.m. to 1:00 p.m. remained stationary in an old building on 47th Street. 2:00 p.m. returned briefly to his office. The Diamond District, Amelia murmured. She zoomed in on the map at that location. There were dozens of shops, but one name caught her eye because Ryan had marked it as a favorite a week ago: Levinson's Estate Jewelry. Amelia opened a new tab, trying to access their online banking. She knew Ryan's user ID from seeing it before, but the password. Amelia tried their wedding date. Failed. Ryan's birthday. Failed. Amelia remembered the recording. Ryan mentioned paying off gambling debts. She tried a strange combination she'd once seen, Ryan scribble on a notepad, Dragon 88. Failed. Amelia sighed, almost giving up. Then she saw a small post-it note tucked under the monitor. Ryan's messy scrawl, Mom's B-Day. Amelia typed in the birth date of her late mother-in-law. Login successful. Amelia's heart felt like it stopped when she saw the balance on the screen. Checking account $1.500. Savings account $200. Brokerage account empty. Where did the hundreds of thousands from Ryan's annual bonus go? Where were their joint savings? Amelia clicked on the account activity menu. The screen was a sea of red. Wire transfer out. Zelle payment. ACH transfer. The recipients were varied: Vegas Rush Online, Zeus Bolt, and multiple transfers to a M. Russo. In the last 3 months, Ryan had transferred a total of over $150,000 to online gambling sites and suspicious personal accounts. Amelia covered her mouth with her hand, stifling a scream. They were broke. Worse than broke. Ryan had debts with interest piling up. This luxurious life was just an empty shell about to shatter. But what hurt most wasn't the money, it was the dates of the transfers. There was one large transfer of $5,000 on their wedding anniversary last month. At the time, Ryan had said he couldn't buy her a gift because his bonus hadn't come through yet. The money had been used for a gambling deposit. Amelia printed the transaction records, folded them into small squares, and hid them inside a box of tampons in her bathroom, a place Ryan would never touch. Now she had proof of motive, but she needed more concrete proof of the crime. She had to go to the Diamond District. The Diamond District was crowded and hot that afternoon. Amelia wore large sunglasses and a face mask obscuring most of her face. She took an Uber, getting dropped off a block away. Levinson's Estate Jewelry was tucked between a textile shop and a shoe store. From the outside, it looked ordinary, like a dusty old watch shop. But as soon as Amelia pushed open the heavy glass door, the atmosphere changed drastically. A blast of cold air greeted her. The interior was lavish with mahogany and red velvet accents. There were no ordinary display cases. The watches here were kept in locked wall cabinets. A middle-aged Asian man in a silk shirt sat behind a high counter polishing a diamond ring with a microfiber cloth. "Good afternoon. Can I help you selling or buying?" he asked brusquely, his eyes sizing Amelia up from head to toe. Her Hermes bag and Gucci shoes made him straighten his posture slightly. Potential client. "I'm looking for a men's watch," Amelia replied, trying to keep her voice calm and classy. "A gift for my husband. He likes Rolex. I was told you have a good collection here." The man smiled thinly. "Ah, Rolex. We have many. Which model Submariner Datejust?" "Daytona," Amelia cut in quickly. "He specifically wants the Rolex Daytona with a black dial. He said it's hard to find." The man's smile widened. "Wow, you're in luck. It must be fate. I just got one in yesterday afternoon. Mint condition, full set box and papers, still under warranty." The man walked to a safe in the back, turned the combination lock, and pulled out a green box. A box that was painfully familiar to Amelia. Her heart pounded as he opened it. There, on a cream-colored cushion, lay her husband's watch. Amelia recognized the tiny scratch on the clasp from when Ryan had bumped it against his desk last month. "May I see it?" Amelia asked, her hand trembling slightly as she took the watch. "Of course. It's a special piece. The previous owner. Well, he needed money badly, so he let it go for a good price. At an official boutique, you'd wait 5 years for this. Here, you can take it home today. Only $35,000. Amelia turned the watch over, pretending to inspect its authenticity. She glanced at the serial number finely engraved on the back of the case. The numbers were identical to those on the warranty card, which was still stored safely in Ryan's drawer. Ryan was a fool. He forgot to bring the warranty card when he sold it. Or maybe this shop didn't care. "Why was the previous owner in such a hurry to sell?" Amelia asked casually. "Ah, you know how it is. Young guy living beyond his means, playing the market or gambling, loses big, sells his assets, the dealer chuckled. His name was Ryan, if I remember correctly. Dressed sharp but was sweating bullets when he came in here begging for cash. Amelia's world spun. A verbal confirmation. Ryan. Sweating bullets. Begging for cash. Amelia placed the watch back on the counter. She wanted to scream that it was stolen property, stolen from their marital assets. But she knew this wasn't the time. She was in enemy territory. "It's beautiful," Amelia said, "but I have to ask my husband first. May I take a quick photo?" "Sure, but be quick. It's a hot item, lots of interest." Amelia photographed the watch, making sure the distinctive scratch and the shop's background were clearly visible. "Thank you. I'll let you know this afternoon." Amelia walked out of the shop quickly. The hot New York air hit her, but she felt cold to the bone. She had her second piece of evidence. Ryan wasn't just a liar, he was a terrifyingly good actor. He sold the watch himself, then came home and destroyed Maria's life to cover his tracks. That afternoon, Amelia had just gotten home. Her head was spinning. She needed a hot shower to calm her nerves, but before she could even climb the stairs, the doorbell rang. Amelia glanced at the intercom monitor. A stocky man in a black leather jacket stood at the gate. He wasn't carrying a package and his face was not friendly. Amelia hesitated. "Yes," she asked through the speaker. "Delivery, ma'am. Documents for Mr. Ryan. Needs a signature." The man's voice was gravelly. "Mr. Ryan isn't home yet." "You can leave it with security at the gatehouse," Amelia replied. "Can't, ma'am. Urgent documents from his office. You're his wife, right? You can sign." Something was wrong. Amelia's instincts, now sharpened by paranoia, screamed danger, but if she didn't go out, the man might get suspicious or cause a scene. The neighborhood was quiet at this time of day. Amelia grabbed a small pair of scissors from a console table drawer, slipped them into her pocket, and walked to the gate. She didn't open it, speaking through the iron bars. "Where's the package?" Amelia asked curtly. The man smiled a smile that didn't reach his eyes. He stepped closer to the gate, gripping the bars with a hand covered in chunky rings. "You're Mrs. Amelia, right?" His voice lowered. It was no longer the voice of a delivery man. "Please, tell your husband. 10. The boss sends his regards." Amelia's face paled. "Who are you my husband doesn't have business with?" "With people like you." She tried to sound brave, though her knees were shaking. The man chuckled softly. "Oh, Mr. Ryan has a lot of business with us. Tell him this week's interest payment is late. The deadline is tomorrow at noon." The man pulled out a Zippo lighter, flicking it open and letting the flame dance in front of Amelia's face, separated by the gate. "If he's 1 minute late, we can't guarantee this pretty house of yours will stay so comfortable. Leave or I'll scream for security," Amelia threatened. "Go ahead and scream. The security guard in this complex owes us money too." The man snapped the lighter shut. "Remember, ma'am, tomorrow at noon, or we'll take something else as collateral. Maybe your car. Or maybe you." He winked, then turned and walked away, hopping on a sport motorcycle parked down the street. Amelia collapsed behind the gate, her legs giving out. The threat was real. They knew where she lived. They knew her name. Ryan hadn't just spent their money. He had brought mortal danger to their doorstep. Amelia knew she couldn't wait. She had to act before the boss decided to collect his debt by force. That night, Ryan wasn't home. He sent a short text, "Working late. Don't wait up." Amelia knew he wasn't working. He was probably trying to find another loan to cover the interest payment or gambling again, hoping for a big win to solve everything. A vicious cycle. Amelia went back to her room and locked the door. She took out Maria's burner phone again. There was another recording she hadn't listened to. Maria had said, "recordings plural." Amelia rechecked the folder. She was right. A second file, voice 002, AMR. Duration, 10 minutes. She put in earbuds this time to hear more clearly. The recording began with the sound of Ryan's heavy breathing. It sounded like he was in his car. The low hum of the engine and faint honking could be heard. "Hello, Carol," Ryan said. Amelia frowned. "Carol, Aunt Carol, his father's sister." "Yeah, it's Ryan. I know I messed up. I've been reckless, but I promise I'll make it all back." Ryan's voice was whiny like a child caught misbehaving. "The house deed is safe." "Yeah, it's in Amelia's name. But I've already prepared a fake grant deed. I'm going to get her to sign it in the next day or two. She's easy to fool. She won't read the details." Amelia clapped a hand over her mouth. "As soon as she signs, I'll transfer the title to my name, then use it as collateral for a bank loan. I can get $5 million easy. Enough to pay off my debts, and the rest will be seed money for us to start that new business in Bali. We'll just leave Amelia. She has no one else besides me anyway." A long pause. Then a woman's voice, faint and raspy, could be heard from the other end of the line. "Just make sure that stupid girl doesn't suspect anything. If you have to cause a little accident to make her even more confused." Amelia's blood ran cold. She recognized that voice. It was Aunt Carol, the woman who had always been so sweet to her, who always brought a cake for the holidays. She was in on it. "Got it, Auntie. Don't worry. The Ambien you gave me. I've been crushing a little bit into her drink every night. That's why she's been so dizzy and forgetful lately. So when she signs the papers, she'll be in a fog." Amelia ripped the earbuds out. Her hands flew to her neck, feeling choked. Ambien, so that's why. That's why she'd been feeling so lethargic lately, forgetting where she put her keys, sleeping too heavily. She thought it was stress or age. She was being slowly poisoned by her own husband. Amelia ran to the bathroom and vomited into the sink. The filet mignon with a red wine reduction and roasted asparagus, the coffee Ryan had made for her that morning, it all felt toxic. She splashed her face with cold water and stared in the mirror. Her eyes were red, but not from sadness. It was rage. "You want to play rough, Ryan?" she whispered to her reflection. "Fine, I can play rougher." She heard Ryan's car pull into the garage much earlier than she expected. Amelia quickly hid the burner phone in the exhaust fan housing in the bathroom ceiling, the safest place she could think of. She straightened her clothes, sprayed some perfume to cover the smell of vomit, and left the room. When Ryan opened the bedroom door, he was holding a brown manila envelope. His face was beaming. That sickeningly sweet smile was back. "Honey, you're still awake," he cooed. "Good. I brought those documents from the tax office I told you about. They need to be signed tonight so I can take them in tomorrow. Just a formality about the property tax assessment." Ryan placed the envelope on the vanity next to a glass of warm milk he had just brought up from the kitchen. "I made you some warm milk too to help you sleep well," Ryan said. Amelia stared at the glass of milk. White, steaming, warm, death in a glass. Then she looked at the brown envelope, her financial death. Amelia smiled sweetly. So sweetly. "Thanks, honey. Just put it there. I'll drink it in a bit. Let me give you a shoulder rub first. You look so tense." Amelia walked behind Ryan. Her hands touched her husband's shoulders. She began to massage them as her brain raced, formulating a counterplan. Tonight, Ryan would not get her signature. Tonight, Amelia would start administering her own brand of medicine. The next morning, the house felt like a gilded cage. Amelia knew her every move was being watched. Not by CCTV cameras, Ryan was too cheap to install them inside the house, but by her husband's suspicious gaze. "Where are you going?" Ryan asked sharply when he saw Amelia dressed and holding her purse. He was sitting in the living room pretending to read the Wall Street Journal, though his eyes were red from lack of sleep. Amelia held her breath, then turned with a weary expression she had practiced in the mirror. "To the doctor, Ryan. I've had a terrible headache since last night. I think my vertigo is acting up." Ryan stared at her. The excuse was plausible. The Ambien he'd been giving her should indeed cause dizziness and disorientation. A faint smirk touched his lips, feeling his plan was working. "Okay, do you need me to drive you?" he asked, feigning concern. "No, don't worry. You're busy with those documents for the notary this afternoon. I'll just take an Uber. I don't feel safe driving when I'm this dizzy." "Good. Be careful. Don't stop anywhere else. Come straight home. We need to sign those documents this evening." Amelia nodded weakly and walked out. As soon as the Uber turned out of the gated community, Amelia changed the destination in the app, not to the hospital but to Grand Central Terminal. She had to meet Maria. In a noisy corner of the terminal's dining concourse, amidst the chaos and smell of food, Amelia found the old woman. Maria looked 10 years older than when she'd been kicked out 2 days ago. She sat, clutching her bag, her face fearful every time a stranger passed by. "Ma'am," Maria almost cried when she saw her. She went to kiss Amelia's hand, but Amelia pulled her into a tight hug instead. A hug between two women betrayed by the same man. "Maria, it's not safe for you to go back home right now." "Ryan knows your address," Amelia whispered quickly. She handed her a thick envelope of cash and a key to a studio apartment. It belonged to a friend of Amelia's who was out of the country. "Stay here for now. It's in Queens. Don't go out unless you have to. Don't use your old phone." Maria took the key with a trembling hand. "Mr. Ryan is evil, ma'am. Pure evil. I heard him talking on the phone with some scary men. They're going to hurt you if you don't sign those papers." "I know, Maria. I heard the recordings. Amelia looked Maria straight in the eye. "Maria, I need one more piece of help. Besides those recordings, did you ever see where Ryan kept his personal documents, the ones not in the bedroom safe?" Maria thought hard. "In the storage closet under the stairs, ma'am, behind a stack of old car part boxes. He used to spend a long time in there late at night. I peeked once. He was putting something into a rusty old cookie tin. Gold." "Thank you, Maria. Now go. Don't contact me unless it's an emergency using this new number." Amelia handed her a new SIM card. After making sure Maria was safely in a taxi heading to Queens, Amelia hurried home. She didn't go to the doctor, but she did stop at a pharmacy. She bought a bottle of vitamins that looked identical to the sleeping pills and a pregnancy test. Not because she was pregnant, but she needed it for an emergency scenario. At 4:00 p.m., Ryan came home early. His face was tense but full of anticipation. In his hand was the same brown envelope from last night. Amelia was on the sofa, massaging her temples. She really did have a headache this time, from the stress of her high-stakes acting. "How was the doctor?" Ryan asked, loosening his tie. "Just stress and gastritis." "He said I need to rest," Amelia replied softly. "Perfect. After you sign this, our burdens will be lessened. You can rest completely." "I'll handle all our assets," Ryan said sweetly. He spread the documents on the coffee table. "Come on, honey. Sign here, here, and here, on the notary seal." Amelia leaned forward, her eyes scanning the document. "Power of attorney to sell. Release of all claims." Ryan wasn't messing around. This document would give him full authority to sell her parents' inherited house without her future consent. "This legal language is so complicated, Ryan." Amelia feigned confusion, squinting. "Power to sell. I thought this was just for taxes." Ryan's jaw tightened. "It's legalese, Amy. That's just the standard format from the lawyer to get the tax deductions. You trust me, don't you?" He held out his expensive Mont Blanc pen, almost forcing it into her hand. Amelia took the pen, her hand shaking. This wasn't an act. She was genuinely terrified. If she signed, it was over. If she refused now, Ryan might resort to violence driven by the looming deadline from his loan shark. "Let me get you some water first," Amelia said, trying to stall. "No. Sign it first," Ryan barked, his patience gone. Amelia flinched. Ryan realized he had snapped. Sorry, honey. I'm just in a hurry. The notary's courier is waiting. Come on, sign." Amelia touched the tip of the pen to the paper. The black ink met the white page. And in that instant, Amelia made her move. "Ouch!" Amelia cried out, clutching her stomach. Her left hand accidentally knocked over a glass of water on the table. Splash water spilled across the table and onto a portion of the documents. Amelia Ryan yelled in panic, grabbing the papers to save them from the spreading puddle. "Sorry, Ryan, my stomach is cramping so badly," Amelia moaned, curling up in pain. Ryan was busy dabbing the documents with a napkin. Luckily, only the top page got wet. "The signature page is fine." He pushed the last page towards her again. "Quick, sign it before it all gets ruined." Amelia took the pen again. This time she had no other choice. She signed her name over the notary seal. Ryan's face broke into a wide grin as he watched the ink dry. He snatched the paper, stuffed it back into the envelope, and clutched it like a child with a new toy. "Done. You go rest now. I have to get this to the courier." Ryan kissed her cheek quickly and rushed out of the house. Amelia sat up straight. Her stomach ache vanished instantly. She watched her husband's retreating back with a cold gaze. Ryan didn't realize that during the water spill incident, in the chaos of wiping the table, Amelia had swapped his Mont Blanc with a pen she'd bought earlier that day, a Frixion erasable gel pen. And more fatally for Ryan, she had signed her name with a slight deliberate alteration to the loops in the A and I'm. A microscopic difference that would cause the bank's signature verification to fail when compared against her official ID. The bank would reject Ryan's loan application, but Ryan would only find that out tomorrow when he was standing confidently in front of the bank manager, and by then, Amelia had to be ready for his rage. That night passed with an eerie calm. Ryan came home with a box of fancy cupcakes, acting like the best husband in the world. He felt he had won. He felt he held the deed to the house in his hands. "I'm taking a half-day off tomorrow," Ryan said while eating a cupcake, "to finalize the tax stuff." "Okay, honey," Amelia replied curtly. While Ryan was in the shower, Amelia moved quickly to the closet under the stairs. As Maria had described, it was musty and dusty. Amelia moved aside boxes of old car parts. In the darkest corner, hidden under a greasy rag, was a rusty old tin of Danish butter cookies. She opened it. Inside were not cookies, but a pile of used SIM cards, a few voided checks, and a small black notebook. Amelia opened it. It was Ryan's ledger of sins. January lost $20K poker. February lost $15K slots. March borrowed $50K from Aunt Carol. Collateral Amelia's SUV title. Amelia ran to the drawer where she kept the title for her Honda CR-V. Empty. Her car had been mortgaged to Aunt Carol for a month. She returned to the book. The last page detailed his plan: target Greenwich house, estimated value $8M, plan quick sale for $5M cash, escape to Bali with Aunt Carol and Vina. Vina, who was Vina? Amelia flipped a page. A photo was tucked inside. A photo of Ryan with his arm around a young, sexy woman at a nightclub. On the back was written, "My lucky charm, Vina." Amelia's hand crumpled the photo. So it wasn't just gambling. There was another woman. And Aunt Carol, his own aunt, supported all of it. They were a syndicate of family parasites. Amelia put the tin back, but she took the black book and the photo. Tonight she would start playing with Ryan's sanity. When Ryan came out of the bathroom, he found a piece of paper on his pillow. On it was written the number $35,000, the exact price he'd sold the Rolex for. Ryan's eyes widened. He looked at Amelia, who was calmly brushing her hair at her vanity. "What is this, Amy?" he asked, his voice shaking. Amelia turned, feigning innocence. "What, honey? Oh, that piece of paper. It fell out of your work pants when I was putting them in the laundry basket. What is it?" Ryan's face was pale. He knew he hadn't written that. "Oh, it's the sales target for my team next month. Yeah, revenue target." He crumpled the paper and threw it in the trash. Amelia smiled inwardly. Score one for Amelia. An hour later, Ryan was watching TV. His phone buzzed. A WhatsApp notification from an unknown number. It was just a photo, a picture of his Rolex Daytona displayed in the pawn shop. No caption. Ryan leaped off the sofa. He tried calling the number. "The number you have dialed is not in service." He ran to the bedroom, staring at Amelia, who was pretending to be asleep. He wanted to wake her to question her, but he hesitated. If he asked, he'd reveal his hand. Ryan started pacing the room like a caged animal, cold sweat beading on his forehead. Was someone following him? Did the loan shark know? Did Amelia know? But she seemed so calm. Too calm for a betrayed wife. "Ryan, why aren't you sleeping? You're making me dizzy with all that pacing," she mumbled with her eyes closed. "No, it's nothing. Just insomnia," Ryan stammered. He swallowed 2 of the Ambien pills, the ones meant for Amelia, because now he was the one who needed to be sedated. Under the covers, Amelia smirked. "Enjoy your nightmares, my dear husband." The next day was D-Day. Ryan left at dawn, clutching the envelope with the signed documents. He wore his best suit, trying to look confident despite the dark circles under his eyes. Amelia waited at home. At 10 a.m., she made a phone call to Ryan's office. "Hello, may I speak with Human Resources, please? This is Amelia, Ryan's wife. I'm just calling to confirm something about his health insurance." "Oh, Mrs. Amelia. Mr. Ryan hasn't worked here for 2 months. He was terminated for misappropriation of company funds." Amelia hung up, her hand trembling. So Ryan had been fired. For 2 months, he had been leaving in the morning and coming home at night just to gamble at online cafes or hang out at Aunt Carol's. He had no salary. The grocery money he'd given her last month was from selling more of her jewelry. 11:30 a.m. Ryan's phone, which Amelia had bugged with a tracking app she'd installed while he was sedated, showed his location at a major private bank in Midtown. Amelia pictured the scene: Ryan handing over the documents, the teller checking a supervisor being called, and finally, the rejection. Sure enough, at 12:15 p.m., Amelia got a call from the complex security on the intercom. "Ma'am, there are some men here looking for Mr. Ryan. 3 of them, big guys. They seem impatient." The loan shark's men. The deadline had passed. "Tell them he's out and do not let them in," Amelia ordered. "They're insisting, ma'am. They're waiting right outside the main gate." Amelia cut the intercom. She took her phone and sent a short text to Ryan's number. "Ryan, some men are at the house. I think they're friends of yours. They're carrying crowbars." Across town in the bank lobby, Ryan had just been escorted out by security for causing a scene when his loan application was flatly rejected. The reason signature not a match and the ink used was partially erased by the heat of the scanning machine. Ryan read Amelia's text. His face went from red with anger to a pasty gray. Loan denied. Thugs at his house. He was trapped. He couldn't go home, but he had no money to run. The only place he could vent his fury and force Amelia to re-sign correctly this time was at home. He had to risk it. He had to sneak in through the back. Ryan called Amelia. "Amy, listen to me. Don't leave the house. Lock all the doors. I'm coming home now." "Ryan, who are they? I'm scared," Amelia said, her voice a perfect imitation of panic. It's a misunderstanding. Just stay inside. Don't open the door for anyone but me." Ryan hung up. He floored the gas weaving through Manhattan traffic like a madman. He had no idea that Amelia was sitting calmly at her dining table sipping jasmine tea. On the table in front of her was the original deed to the house, which she had moved to a safe deposit box a year ago on a bad premonition. The final stage was set. Ryan managed to get into the house through a side garage door, unseen by the thugs at the front gate. He burst in breathless, his suit wrinkled, his hair a mess. The house was quiet, the curtains drawn, the lights dim. On the dining table, candles were lit. 2 plates of steak sat cold alongside a bottle of wine. Amelia was sitting at the head of the table wearing an elegant maroon dress. Her makeup was flawless, a stark contrast to the chaos Ryan felt. "Ryan, you're home. How did you get in? Your guests are still out front," Amelia greeted him softly. Too softly. Ryan didn't care about the steak or the candles. He strode toward her, gripping her shoulders. "What did you do to that document?" he hissed. "Your signature was wrong. The bank rejected it. You did it on purpose, didn't you?" Amelia gently pushed his hands away. She picked up her wine glass, swirling the contents. "Sit down, Ryan. Let's talk about this calmly." "There's no time to talk. Those men outside want to kill me. Amelia, re-sign it now." "The right way." Ryan pulled a new crumpled set of documents from his briefcase. Amelia took a sip of her wine, then looked at Ryan. Her gaze made him take a step back. It was empty, cold, and piercing. "I know about the watch," Ryan, Amelia said flatly. Ryan froze his mouth slightly agape. What? "I know you framed Maria. I know you sold the Rolex in the Diamond District for $35,000. I know you have over $100,000 in gambling debts. I know you were fired 2 months ago." Each sentence was a sledgehammer blow, and Amelia held up the small black notebook she'd found. "I know about Vina, and your plan to throw me away after you drained all my assets." Ryan was frozen solid. The anger on his face morphed into pure horror. His mask shattered into a million pieces. The stupid wife he'd underestimated had uncovered all of his secrets. "How? How did you find out?" Ryan's voice was a hoarse whisper. Amelia placed the book on the table. "From Maria's old burner phone that you dismissed. She recorded everything, Ryan. Your disgusting plans, your phone call with Aunt Carol, all of it." Ryan stared at the black book, then at Amelia's face. Slowly, the fear in his expression vanished, replaced by something far more terrifying: desperation. He laughed, a small chuckle that grew into a loud, crazed laugh. "Wow. So my wife is smart after all. I misjudged you." Ryan walked to the front door, locked it, and pocketed the key. Then he walked to the kitchen and pulled a large carving knife from the wooden block. "Well, if you know everything, then I guess I don't have to pretend anymore, do I?" Ryan twirled the knife in his hand, his eyes wild. "I need that money, Amy, and I'm going to get it, either with your willing signature or with your dead thumbprint. The choice is yours, darling. Sign this now, or I'll make sure those thugs outside find your body and think they're the ones who killed you." Ryan stepped forward. Amelia remained seated. She didn't run. Her right hand slowly moved under the table, gripping something she had taped there earlier. "Did you think I was that stupid, Ryan? To plan a romantic dinner with a murderer without being prepared?" The dining room lights suddenly went out. Total darkness. It wasn't an accident. Under the table near her knee, Amelia had attached a smart plug to the main lamp. With a single tap on her phone hidden in her lap, she cut the power. "Damn it, Amelia, turn on the lights!" Ryan's panicked shout echoed in the dark. There was a loud screech as a chair was shoved back, followed by the thud of the knife hitting the wooden table. He had swung it blindly. Amelia didn't answer. In the darkness, she slipped from her chair, crawling silently across the thick rug toward the kitchen island. Ryan's breathing was heavy and ragged. "Don't play games with me, Amy. The door is locked." "I have the key." A blinding white light cut through the darkness. Ryan had turned on his phone's flashlight. The beam swept wildly across the room. Amelia hid behind the marble island, her heart pounding. Ryan looked terrifying, his face lit from below a demonic silhouette. His expensive jacket was gone, his shirt soaked with sweat, the carving knife gripped tightly in his hand. "Come out, you bitch!" he screamed, kicking a dining chair over. "Sign the damn papers or I'll cut off your fingers one by one until you're willing to hold a pen." Outside, a loud banging started at the front gate. "Bang, bang, Ryan, get out here, we know you're in there." The thugs' voices were muffled but clear. Ryan glanced toward the front window, his face pale. He was trapped. In front, deadly debt collectors. Inside, a wife who held the keys to his destruction. The pressure snapped his sanity completely. "This is all your fault, Amelia," he raved. He started walking toward the kitchen, waving the flashlight and knife. "If you weren't so cheap, if you'd just died sooner like your parents, I wouldn't be in this mess." Amelia fumbled in a nearby drawer. She was looking for the weapons she had prepared. Not a knife. Her hand found a cold cylinder, a portable fire extinguisher, and a can of pepper spray. Ryan was getting closer. The beam of light swept the floor, nearing her hiding spot. "Ah, there you are," he hissed, spotting the hem of her red dress. He lunged. Amelia leaped up. "Eat this, Ryan." She discharged the fire extinguisher directly in his face. A cloud of white chemical powder filled the air, choking him. "Arg, my eyes!" Ryan screamed, dropping the knife. He clawed at his stinging eyes, choking on the powder. Amelia didn't waste a second. She kicked the knife far under the refrigerator and ran for the stairs. Her destination, the master bathroom on the second floor, her final fortress. She ran up the stairs, tearing the slit in her dress higher to move faster. Below, she could hear Ryan coughing and cursing. "Amelia, I'm going to kill you." His heavy footsteps followed. He was chasing her, fueled by pure rage. Amelia slammed the master bedroom door, locked it, then ran into the ensuite bathroom, locking that door too. 2 layers of protection. She climbed onto the vanity, opened the exhaust fan cover, and pulled out the Nokia burner phone and a small power bank. The phone turned on. She hit speed dial Heshone. It wasn't 911. It was her father's senior lawyer, Mr. Davies, who had a direct line to the local police chief. "Mr. Davies, help, Ryan is trying to kill me," she screamed into the phone. Outside, a heavy thud hit the bedroom door. Crack. The door burst open. Now he was at the bathroom door. "Open up, Amelia. It's useless calling the police," he yelled. "Those thugs will get in here before the cops do. If they get in, we're both dead. Give me the deed. It's the only way we survive." Amelia backed into the corner of the bathroom, turning on the shower full blast to muffle her voice. "He's at the door," she said into the phone. "He has a knife." He confessed to everything. "Please record this as my dying declaration if I don't make it." "Stay on the line, Amelia." Mr. Davies' voice was firm. "I'm on my way with a tactical unit." Suddenly, the sound of shattering glass came from the bedroom. It wasn't Ryan. The sound was from the balcony. The thugs. They had climbed the gate and gotten to the second-floor balcony. Ryan went silent. He was now trapped in the bedroom with the debt collectors, while Amelia was safely locked in the bathroom. "Well, well, Mr. Ryan." Hard man to find, a deep voice boomed. "The boss sends his regards." Amelia pressed her ear to the door. Wait, man." Ryan's voice was panicked, pleading. "Don't hurt me. My wife is in the bathroom. She has the deed. Break down the door and take it. It's all yours." Tears fell from Amelia's eyes. Even at the end, he was trying to sacrifice her. "Move," the thug's voice said. Kaboom! A powerful kick hit the bathroom door. It splintered. Kaboom! The hinges buckled. Amelia looked around for a weapon. A shampoo bottle, a toothbrush. Useless. Wait. Her hair straightener. It was still plugged in from earlier, its indicator light glowing red. 450 degrees Fahrenheit. She unplugged it, gripping the handle like a hot dagger. Crash. The door flew open. A thug in a leather jacket stepped in, a triumphant sneer on his face. Behind him, Ryan trembled, his face caked in white powder. "The deed, pretty lady," the thug said, reaching for her. Amelia didn't flinch. "I don't have it. The original is in a safe deposit box. I swallowed the key." The thug laughed. "Don't be a comedian." He lunged to grab her hair. As his hand shot out, Amelia swung the hot straightener with all her might, clamping the scorching ceramic plates onto his palm. The smell of burning flesh filled the small room. "Arrgh," he howled, yanking his hand back. Seeing his chance, Ryan didn't help his wife. He shoved the injured thug at Amelia and bolted for the balcony, intending to jump. "Get him!" the burned thug yelled to his partner. Amelia was knocked backward into the bathtub, her head hitting the tile. Her vision swam. The burner phone clattered to the wet floor. The injured thug got up, his eyes red with rage. He pulled out a switchblade. "You're dead." Amelia scrambled her hands, finding a bottle of heavy-duty porcelain cleaner. As he swung the knife, she splashed the caustic liquid in his face. Another scream. He was temporarily blinded, swinging the knife wildly. Amelia crawled out of the tub and ran from the room. On the balcony, Ryan was dangling from the railing, hesitating to jump. He saw Amelia. "Help me, Amy. Pull me up," he begged. Amelia stood in the doorway staring at her husband. In the distance, sirens grew louder. "Do you hear that, Ryan?" she asked coldly. "Please, Amy, I'm going to fall." Amelia stepped forward not to help, but to pick up Ryan's phone, which had fallen to the floor. The screen showed an incoming call from Aunt Carol. Amelia answered and put it on speaker. "Ryan, where are you? The police are raiding my house. They know about the money laundering. You have to run, Ryan. Don't you dare involve me," Aunt Carol's hysterical voice shrieked before the line went dead. Ryan heard it all. His face was a mask of utter despair. His world was over. "Enjoy the hell you've created, Ryan," Amelia whispered. She turned and walked back inside, leaving him hanging there. A moment later, the front door was smashed open, not by thugs, but by a SWAT team with Mr. Davies right behind them. "Police, don't move." The thugs in the house and on the balcony surrendered immediately. Amelia walked down the stairs, her red dress torn her body, aching her hair a mess, but she stood tall. Mr. Davies rushed to her, wrapping his own suit jacket around her. "Amelia, are you all right?" She nodded weakly. "I'm safe, Uncle." Police led the thugs out. Then 2 officers brought Ryan in from the side garden. He was limping. He had jumped and sprained his ankle. His hands were cuffed behind his back. As they passed, Amelia Ryan stopped. He looked at her all arrogance, gone replaced by the face of a pathetic loser. "Amy," he whimpered, "help me. Tell them this was just a domestic dispute. I promise I'll change. I'll go to therapy. We can start over." Amelia looked at him with empty eyes. The old Amelia would have fallen for it, but the recordings had killed that woman. She reached into Mr. Davies's jacket pocket and pulled out a clear evidence bag containing the cracked, wet Nokia phone she had picked up from the bathroom floor. Officer Amelia said loudly, handing the bag to the lead detective, "This is the evidence. Inside are recordings of conspiracy to commit murder, asset fraud, and embezzlement committed by my husband and his aunt. Please prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law." Ryan's eyes bulged. "Amelia, how could you—" "Take him away," Amelia commanded coldly, not looking at him again. Ryan was dragged away, screaming curses at her, his voice fading into the night. The night ended with Amelia sitting on the sofa in her wrecked living room surrounded by a crime scene investigation team. This house wasn't a palace, it was a stage, and tonight the final curtain had fallen. 6 months later, the sound of waves crashing against the shore was a soothing balm. A sea breeze fluttered the white curtains of a small, charming villa on the coast of Santa Barbara. Not lavish, but warm and comfortable. Amelia sat on the terrace with her laptop, checking the reports for her new business, an online boutique she had built from the personal savings she'd managed to salvage. The legal battle had been long and draining, but the result was satisfying. Ryan was sentenced to 12 years in prison on multiple counts. His debts were not her problem, thanks to a prenuptial agreement her late father had insisted on. Aunt Carol had suffered a stroke while trying to flee the country and was now under guard in a hospital prison. Vina had vanished and was reportedly a fugitive in another fraud case. The Greenwich house was sold. Amelia wanted no part of those memories. "Ma'am, Amelia, the coconut water is ready," a familiar voice called from the kitchen. Maria emerged with a tray holding 2 glasses of fresh coconut water and a plate of fried bananas. The old woman's face was now healthy and full, her smile wide. She wore a bright new sundress, a gift from Amelia. "Thanks, Maria." "Sit with me," Amelia invited. "Oh, it wouldn't be proper," Maria said softly. "Sit. That's an order," Amelia teased. Maria laughed and sat down beside her. Amelia closed her laptop. She took something from a drawer. A small gift box. "This is for you." A late birthday present. Maria opened it carefully. Her eyes widened. Inside was the latest smartphone, sleek and new. "Oh my goodness, ma'am. My old one still works." "That old phone is a retired war hero." Maria Amelia smiled. She pointed to a small glass frame on the living room wall. Inside, mounted like a museum piece, was the cracked Nokia phone with its rubber band. It was a monument. A worthless little object that had saved both their lives. "If it weren't for that phone and your courage, Maria, I'd either be dead or homeless right now," Amelia said, taking the old woman's wrinkled hand. Maria wiped away a tear. "I just did what was right, ma'am. God is always watching. Bad people will always fall. Good people will be safe." "Yes, they will," Amelia added, "but sometimes good people have to stop being naive to survive." They both looked out at the sunset, the sky painted in hues of orange and purple. Amelia took a deep breath, inhaling the air of freedom. She was no longer a dutiful, foolish wife. She was no longer a victim. The wounds in her heart might never fully heal like the cracks in that old Nokia's screen, but it was through those cracks that the light had finally gotten in, allowing her to see the world and herself more clearly. Her new phone buzzed. A flood of new orders for her boutique. Life went on. And this time Amelia was in complete control of her own story. What do you think? If you were in Amelia's shoes when Ryan begged for forgiveness at the end, would you have shown mercy for the sake of old memories, or would you have made sure he was locked away for as long as possible? Type "forgive" or "prison" in the comments. I want to see what you would do.